Hey guys, what's up? This is Chetan for Advisors Media and I'm going to do a complete review of the Gionee Elife E6 Android smartphone, the latest best from Gionee just before the E7 was just announced a few days back. And this device priced at around Rs 20,000 in the Indian market is a pretty good competitor for many big brands because of the pricing factor. And externally the Gionee Elife E6 is not so different in looks from the iPhone 5. This is mainly because of the shape and not the build, because the shape is rectangular, perfect rectangular, and it comes with the sharp edges just like the iPhone 5. And the camera placement too is quite the same, but still it's not totally similar because the iPhone 5 had a single bottom home key, but here you get three capacitive touch buttons, and the side panels too are quite different from that of the iPhone 5. So now let's talk about each aspect here. One would easily be confused seeing the iPhone 5 and this device for the same time, but the size keeps it quite different because there's a 5-inch Full HD display given here when compared to the 4.4-inch in the iPhone, and these are the three capacitive touch buttons in the bottom, and this is a unibody design. There's no option to remove the battery, and the SIM card slot is given on the side. And now when you talk about the external aspect, the bottom part of the phone has got a micro USB port in this side, and these are the two speaker grills, and there's a primary mic just beside to the micro USB port. On the rear side there's a 30 megapixel camera with the LED flash, and there's a secondary mic for the noise cancellation. On the right side, this is the volume rocker single key, where the volume up button won't do anything when the screen is locked, but when you press the volume down button it would activate the screen for you to unlock it. And on the left side, as we showed you, there's a SIM card slot here where you can remove this slot by using the SIM ejector pin. On the front there's a 5 megapixel camera along with the ambient light sensor and also the proximity sensor. So to list out the main specifications of this device, it has got a 5-inch Full HD display, and this is the OGS solution, that's the one glass solution, where you see the touch screen, the display, and also the digitizer, which are fused together to make a single touchscreen panel here. And it has got a 1.5 GHz MT6589 MediaTek processor which clocks at 1.5 GHz, and it runs the Android 4.2 Jelly Bean OS, but it has got a different Amico interface inside this. And there's a 13 megapixel rear camera with the LED flash, and there's a 5 megapixel front camera. There's 32 GB of internal storage provided in this, but there's no option to expand any storage using a micro SD card. And this is a single SIM device with the micro SIM being placed here, and the phone has got a 2000 mAh of battery in it. So now I'm getting into the interface. Now let's go to the settings initially and see what version of Android this device is using. So this is the Android 4.2.1 Jelly Bean OS. This is the 4.2.1 Jelly Bean that the device is running, but that won't matter much because this is a totally different interface, and even installing 4.3 won't matter here because the Amigo interface looks totally different. And one of the first reasons why you would see it different is because of the absence of the app drawer. There's no app drawer, and you see all the applications directly on the home screen itself. Now let's go to the lock screen initially and see. The lock screen here is quite good with the time and date given here, and there are two options to swipe, either up or swipe to the right. Swiping to the right would give you the camera widget with the options to capture the photos or to record a video or to activate the torch by flashing the LED light. So this is a quite useful widget here, and swiping to the top would unlock the screen, and just to lock it again you can use this widget to take it down, or you have to directly use this button to lock the screen. So now when you talk about the actual interface, and the OS version 4.2 is quite good, and let's go to the storage settings and see how good the storage is. We have actually installed a few applications already, so the storage would be quite different here, but still the phone capacity is 24 GB from the 32 GB that's provided, because 7 GB is the system capacity. So 24 is very good. So and one won't need any external storage here because 24 GB is quite a lot of storage already. and there are multiple home screens in the interface and we would again see an iPhone or iOS inspiration because there's no app drawer, and the wallpaper that is seen in the lock screen just gets faded away when you are unlocking the screen, and it looks quite brilliant on the background. Now let us go to the menu key where you would see the wallpaper, search, desktop setting and the system setting. Opening the wallpaper would show you some brilliant wallpapers that are provided by Gionee. These are static wallpapers, and there are also some desktop live wallpapers, but we would suggest you not to use the live wallpapers because this is not a full home screen, but there are the application icons given directly, so static wallpapers would look good here. And the theme section would show you different themes that can be installed here. They are this is the current theme. There's Android theme, colorful, E6, Enjoy Life and the Romantic Season. And one of the good things here is that you can install themes by downloading them from the online settings directly from the theme application here. And now going into the settings once again, we'll now see what all settings are available here. There's two sections here, one is common settings and one is the all settings. The common settings has the settings for the WLAN, that's the Wi-Fi, data connection, the Bluetooth. So these are the basic connectivity options provided, and there are options for the screen password, the ringtone, display and the power saving mode. Also you can use this utility to check for any new Android version updates that are provided by the company through the OTA option. Now swiping to the right, you would see the various options for the wireless and networking. Going to the more wireless, you will see there's a WLAN direct, that's the Wi-Fi direct, also the Wi-Fi tethering. So the basic connectivity options are all present here. And now going to the personal, you have got the sound and vibrate, the location access, the security where you can change a few device administration settings. And going into the device, this is a pretty useful settings area where you get to see the power saving mode. This is where when the phone is on low battery, you can activate the power saving mode, or it would automatically get activated when you set it up correctly. And settings would be enabled when the power is less than 20%. That is when you actually have the power saving mode turned on. So this is quite a useful feature in the E6. And the LED light is another good thing in the settings, where there's a low power reminder where the red LED light would be flashed, and when the charging is going on, the blue LED keeps flashing here, and there's also a notification reminder LED. But the smart gesture feature is not what we actually are impressed with, because it didn't respond very well. The sensors were not that good, especially with the smart answer where picking up the phone to ear to answer automatically. This does not work very well because we tried to use it once for testing, but it didn't get activated very well. And the notification panel is quite the standard one, where you get to see the NQ security and the DO battery panels here, and these are two pre-installed applications, so these are quite useful. And there's a quick settings bar that can be accessed from here, or you can swipe two fingers together. This quick settings would activate. It shows the profile, the airplane mode, the battery percentage, the connectivity options, the data usage and the audio profiles. There's a quick power saving mode directly here, and there are alarms provided. Apart from this, what we get to see here is the multitasking, and in the multitasking it again looks like the iOS or the iPhone, where pressing the home button would show you various running applications, and this would be just like a full screen mode of the running apps. Swiping up would close the application. So this is just similar to the iOS, and in most of the Android smartphones it is a small bar provided in a vertical view, and you have to swipe to the right or left, but here it's the vertical swiping to shut down the application. So apart from that, the applications that are pre-installed are most of the Google applications, that's the Google search, the YouTube, there's Gmail, there's Play Store, and even the Google Maps is installed. And there are a few applications that we have installed from our side, but what comes pre-installed is the themes application and the NQ mobile security The file explorer is quite good, but you won't be able to see the system files or the folders in that. And now let us go to the camera to check out the quality of that. The 13 megapixel camera does a very neat capturing, and this is pretty good when you are actually trying to capture something in the bright background or the bright surroundings. But when you try to do it in the low light or dark surroundings, it doesn't do a good job, and even the LED flash is not that helpful. But the 1080p video capturing is quite commendable. So as you can see, the detailing is quite perfect with the 30 megapixel camera, and the camera does a very neat job when you have a good light background or the light surroundings. So don't expect much when you are trying to do that with the LED flash turned on even in the dark backgrounds. And the 5 megapixel front camera is also a good one. This is the front camera. It is quite good, and it does have the zooming options, and it captures photos quite fast, and the camera is pretty responsive. Now let's go to the camera settings and see what all settings are available here. So these are the various settings and options available with the camera, where you can see the capturing mode, the normal, panorama, MAV, eraser and best face, and the capture action is normal or the touch shot, the gesture shot. There are gesture shots, but again don't try that much because we aren't impressed with the sensors provided in this. And the white balance mode has auto, incandescent, the daylight, fluorescent, cloudy, and the color effects are none, mono, sepia, negative, aqua. And going to the settings, there's also HDR, capturing mode, swinging switch, sound, face detection, store location. So there's a lot of settings available in this smartphone's camera, and the 13 megapixel is not that bad a camera here. Now let us see how good the messaging application is and how good the typing would be here. So the typing has got two options. One is the word prediction, where while typing it would predict the word here, and you can also use the swiping here. Swiping is very good, so it detects the word pretty fast, and it's quite responsive again. But when you talk of the performance, we are not very much impressed with the performance, because there are some lags during these transitions or the effect sometimes when you are trying to run a few applications in the background, and you are again on the home screen trying to switch between the different home screens. There's a bit of a lag, but that should not be noticeable when you are always shutting down the various running applications and going to the home screen. So let's do a couple of gaming reviews and check out how good the gaming is. Let me open the Subway Surfers game, which is one of the quite famous and regularly played game. So I was earlier told that people aren't able to play games quite well in the Gionee smartphones, but I'm quite surprised that it is different here in the E6, because the gaming is quite good here, and we are able to play the game flawlessly without any issues. As you can see, there's no lags and the game is being played pretty well. But again, you shouldn't be expecting to play huge games like the FIFA or the Dead Trigger that easily here. For that you will have to downgrade the resolution of the game or the screen. That's a Temple Run 2. This is again one of the other famous games that is quite regularly used, played, and many users have been asking us to do the gaming review of these two games on the Gionee Elife E6 to check how good the gaming in this phone is. So when we did the testing of these games in the Samsung Galaxy Grand, which is priced a little similarly to that of the Elife E6, the Grand did not perform that well, but here the game is going on quite well, and although there are some good graphics in these games, These are handled pretty well by the processor in the Gionee Elife A6. I'll try to do a couple of benchmark testing. This is the Antutu benchmark. This is one of the standard benchmark tests that is done in most of the devices to compare it with the other smartphones. Let me test it. So in the different benchmark testing, this is the Gionee Elife A6 has been performing quite well, and the score of around 15,000 was given in the Antutu benchmark, which is quite decent. And let us talk about the internal specifications of the E6. That's the ARM Cortex A7 CPU architecture, and the system, it runs the Android 4.2.1 Jelly Bean OS. It's the MT6589, the MediaTek chipset, and the screen display is 480 dpi, and the resolution is 1080 into 1920 pixels. The available RAM right now is 981 MB, and the actual available RAM is around 1.3 GB out of the 2 GB, because most of the other RAM is used by the system applications. And so the battery is a little of a concern here, because Gionee has included a 2000 mAh battery, which should not be quite really enough, because this is a smartphone with a full HD display, a quad-core processor, and one would expect to have a battery with more capacity, and really you won't be able to use it for more than a day when you're using the phone normally for calling and having the internet activated for the entire day. Now let me talk about the major advantages and the disadvantages of the Gionee Elife A6. The advantages would be the pricing. First of all, it is priced at around rupees 20,000, and for the given specifications, if you go for a smartphone from the well-known brands like Sony, Samsung or HTC, this smartphone wouldn't have been priced anywhere below 35,000 rupees. And the next advantage is the camera. 13 megapixel camera is pretty good in performance. The picture quality is also quite good, and the 5 megapixel camera is an attractive point here. And the design is again a plus point, because this is a iPhone-ish type of design, and we always like the iPhone design for the rectangular body and the sharp edges. And the performance of the phone is quite good. It isn't much laggy, though I talked about the lags when you are doing a lot of multitasking, but it's not really laggy when you talk about the normal usage. And the storage of 32 GB is again an advantage, because you won't need to spend extra money to buy a micro SD card and provide an external storage to it, because 32 GB is quite enough, and 2 GB of RAM is again a good point here. And one of the other advantages here is the good case provided by Gionee. This case is a matte finish type of case, but the good thing about this case here is that it provides you all the good access to the buttons, to the connectivity options and the speakers. And also for holding, usually most of the smartphones comes with the case where you have to hold it this way, and it's quite uncomfortable because it can slip from your hands. But Gionee has provided a case where you have this access zone, and you can hold the phone in various different ways, and this is the way you can hold it, and you can directly use it by holding it here. So this is quite different and advantageous than the cases provided from the other brands. Now let us talk about the disadvantages of this phone. The main disadvantage is again the battery. 2000 mAh battery, which is not really good in giving long hours of usage. You can use it for around 18 hours max on the normal usage. And the other disadvantage we didn't mention earlier about is the UC browser. I would have preferred Chrome browser over UC, because although it's quite hyped and very much lauded for the features and the shortcuts it provides, but still the performance is not that good, and it does lag a lot and sometimes crashes down when you're opening heavy pages. For the price point given at 20,000 rupees, this phone is quite worth it, and it's very much better than the smartphones provided from Micromax, Spice or the other Indian brands. So do check out the channel for the other tips, tutorials and reviews. Do give a thumbs up for the review if you liked it, and do share it with your friends. Thank you.